covering the Gulf Coast. The Law Show. Brought to you by the personal injury law firm Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson. The Law Show.
Good evening. This is The Law Show. It comes to you, brought to you by the lawyers at Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson. Tonight, we'll be here for an hour to answer your legal questions live across the Gulf Coast. I'm Mike McLeod. I'm here with my partner, Randy Thompson. And Randy, we're going to answer legal questions live. The numbers will get on the screen here in a minute to answer folks' questions.
Yeah, they're the number of our offices. We've got offices in Pensacola, Panama City, Port St. Joe. Call us if you have a legal question. There are the numbers right up there.
Yes.
Fort Walton Beach, Destin is up as well.
Especially if you have a question about an accidental injury, wrongful death. Our firm specializes and limits its practice to accidental injury cases and wrongful death cases, cases where people are seriously hurt. We've limited our practice, Randy, to that for 25 years. And I was thinking as we were sitting here tonight, we're on WFGX tonight across the panhandle of Florida. But the Law Show, we've done the Law Show for, I think, about 20 years now. We're on the air longer than Bonanza, Seinfeld, and a lot of long-time shows. We've done this for a long time. You know,
listen, I tell people I have been with the firm, and I lose track, really. I've had 2 jobs in my legal career. I had one where I represented insurance companies for the first 7 years of my career, and then I came to the Kerrigan firm, and I think, honestly, it's 18 years ago, 19 years ago. And the Law Show was on the air then, and it was one of the things that panicked me about coming to work for the firm, because I thought, oh no, I got to be on TV. But now you and I have done it so often, and we've had so many people tell us how much they appreciate the show and how appreciative they are of us answering the questions and giving some general advice. It's really fun to be here with you. I enjoy being here.
We do think we help people, and people call about accidental injuries, and they call about questions about automobile accidents or other accidents and automobile insurance, and we do think that we're helpful. And people tell us as we go around that they do watch the show and benefit from your calls and from our answers. So tonight we'll be here for an hour live to answer your legal questions about accidental injury cases. Randy, a little bit about the law firm. Bob Kerrigan and George Estes started our firm maybe about 30 years ago now, over 30 years ago, Bob and George, and have been very successful representing injured people across the panhandle. Bob Kerrigan has had, and George have had some of the biggest verdicts in Northwest Florida. Bob has really had a specialty of representing people who've lost loved ones in accidents, and very successfully. Bill Rankin came along a couple of years later, me, and then you are almost at the tail end, and now Autumn Beck has joined our firm, and we're proud to have Autumn with us. And
we recently sent out an announcement acknowledging that Autumn Beck is with the firm and is associated with us. She is tremendous at getting our website up. You got to go look at our website, www.kerrigan.com. It's a great website. It's interactive. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere. We're Twitter.
All that stuff we didn't know about, Autumn is teaching.
All through Autumn. Yeah. Autumn has helped us out through that, and she's also handling her own load of cases and making great headways, doing good stuff.
Yeah. Randy, we're waiting for a couple of phone calls now. Again, the lines are open. The numbers are on the screen. If you'll call those numbers, and again, those are the numbers of our offices in Pensacola, Panama City, and Fort Walton Beach, and Destin.
Let me ask you this question. What do you think you spend the vast majority of your professional time doing? Do you do, car accidents, medical malpractice? What do you spend most of your time doing?
Well, really, just because I think that we drive so much, and people, just if you work, if you have family, you drive. And driving, has gotten safer. People wear their belts now, but I think a lot of people are hurt in automobile accidents. Now, we do all sorts of other cases. We do some industrial accidents and have had some very substantial verdicts in industrial accidents, unsafe products, medical malpractice cases, but I think just by volume, most of the firm's work, and mine is automobile accident cases. I think that seatbelts have really saved people from getting very severe injuries. But you know, we were talking about this the other day. Now there's something, you know, this texting, and people have to really be careful that they get, you know, everybody's got a cell phone now, even if you're 15 years old or 12 years old or whatever, and those people aren't drivers, but it's just dangerous to text and drive, so there's a new risk out there for folks. But
and you know, a lot of people would think, well, now how hard could it be? What's involved in an automobile accident? But you and I were just involved in a day-long mediation of an automobile accident case that involved 2 workers' compensation claims, 2 different accidents, maybe some pre-existing injuries. I mean, it requires a lot of time, energy, and focus on trying to get that stuff resolved.
well, listen, you'll agree with me about this. One of the reasons we do this TV show, and we've done it for a long time, is because we want people to know us. And it's a way to market ourselves to people that don't know us. When you drive through Fort Walton Beach or Destin or Panama City or Pensacola, you're going to see billboards from lawyers that advertise themselves as accidental injury lawyers and personal injury lawyers. But truthfully, anybody can put a billboard up. We know that from what we know of the work that we do. We've got billboards up there too, but you know, our partners in our firm are board certified trial lawyers, have tried a lot of cases, and so this is a way for people that are considering who do we want to hire to help us after a bad accident to get to know us a little bit, and as a byproduct we think it helps people and people benefit from it. And we think people kind of watch the show, when especially when you're on just a couple of minutes, and flip it to another channel. But
well, thanks, I appreciate that. I would have to say, in answer to my own question, that I spend a lot of time doing premises liability cases. You know, what we call trip and falls, slip and falls, dog bite cases. I have a tremendous amount of those cases. And there are some nuances in the law that you have to be aware of, things you have to know that you've got to be able to put forth and prove. And
yeah, and I'll ask you this for our viewers. I know the answer, and I know your view about it, but I think the average person who's never hired a lawyer, who's never been hurt and had to make a claim with an insurance company, thinks that people that slip and fall are those kind of lawsuit-chasing people that are quick to hoist up a claim that's not necessarily 100% true. And how could you really get hurt slipping and falling or tripping and falling? But I know from seeing some of the work that you've done on those cases that people can be dramatically hurt and make dramatic recoveries.
Yeah, listen, one of the leading orthopedic surgeons in Pensacola called me and asked me to represent his mother-in-law, who was in a supercenter shopping center, and she was shopping for bread. And while she was there picking her stuff, the people who were stocking the shelves stacked empty display cases behind her. And without her knowing it and without the ability to do anything about it, she went to leave and fell down and had to have a total shoulder replacement because of the injury. In another case, it really related to landscape. A woman got out of her car and in a parking lot, but they had those green, you know, zones, and a tree had died, and they had removed the tree, but they never filled in the hole. But the grass had grown over it because that hole had been there so long, but she stepped in that hole because she didn't see it, and she shattered a hip. Yeah. I mean, there are very serious injuries that occur from the head injuries as well. I got a call this week from the mother of a 12-year-old daughter who slipped and fell in a big puddle of oil that we suspect was caused from the grocery stocker using his box opening knife. And when he opened up the box of baby shampoo, he cut one of the bottles, and it leaked on the floor. And she has a huge gash and a permanent scar on her eye. So we see those kind of claims a lot, and I get involved in those claims a lot.
Yeah. All right. Let's take our first call.
Brent, you've got a question for us. Thank you for holding. How can we help you tonight?
Yes, thank you for your show. Yeah.
You there?
Yes. I have a question. I work with a youth group here in Mobile. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Turn your set down because you'll get some feedback. And for others who are going to call, turn your TV set because that feedback is confusing. There's a delay.
Okay, yeah, I've got it turned down.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I have a question. I work with a youth group here in Mobile.
Yeah.
And we're looking at reducing our liability. We use a 15-passenger van currently, and we're considering putting a full-size school bus online to relieve our liability of things because of the things that's been happening with 15-passenger vans.
Yeah.
Is the current rules and regulations now saying that 15 passengers are unacceptable vehicles, or can we continue to use it and a regulation school bus?
I don't think there's any sort of restriction to using a 15-passenger van. I think if you bought a school bus, it might not have seat belts, an older school bus. School buses in Florida, most of them don't have seat belts. A 15-passenger van will have a seat belt for every occupant, but I don't know of any restriction that prevents you from having both or a 15-passenger van. But I think the thing that I would, if I was giving advice to your organization or church, I would review my liability insurance and make sure I had a policy with a reputable insurance company and make sure my limits were sufficient to protect the organization in case somebody made a mistake. And then we can talk about this some more. I would make sure that I had uninsured motorist coverage on, even though it's a vehicle that's owned by a church or a community organization, because that protects all the passengers in case somebody causes an accident and hurts people on your bus. And we can go into that some. Randy, you want to?
Well, I would just add to it. You and I attend the same church, and our church, and I drive the van for the seniors, and they drug test us. And I would make sure that all your drivers have a commercial driver's license. I would make sure that you are up on drug testing and making sure that you do the alcohol test and random samples. I'd make sure that your drivers have the issue of, training, and that they're aware of the safety precautions and they're aware of the blind spots on the van. All of that is something I'm sure that your youth group does. Certainly, I had to go through all of those paces when I was asked to drive and agreed to drive the church bus and taking road trips, but practicing and having a qualified driver ride with the drivers and making sure the drivers have the commercial driver's license and that they know all the rules. When, Mike, when he asked first about reducing their liability, well, the way you reduce liability is to reduce your accidents. And Mike, you talked about making sure, though, that if anybody is in an accident, that they're protected and they're taken care of. But to reduce liability, make sure your drivers are qualified, make sure they follow the rules, make sure that the kids, the youth on the bus understand the concept of and the importance of staying seated and wearing their belts if they're available. But I'm aware of the recent articles that talk about the 15-passenger vans being top-heavy and their likelihood of flipping over and rolling. But I do not think that adds any liability to you just because you operate one. You know what I mean?
Brent,
Yes.
You still there?
All right.
Anything else, Brent?
No, that was it. Thank you very, very much for your answer there.
All
You're
right,
welcome. Good luck to you, man.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.